This is the first spring Sunday, 2024, and a lot of action last night. Down to 24 teams, the NCAA tournament, and tomorrow morning we'll be down to 16 teams. How about them Wolfpack? All right, last night's featured presentation. School Spirit 1985. The Cobra has been making some picks lately for feature presentations. The Cobra, I like how he doesn't go for the predictable pick. That was not a predictable pick. This is about the third time I've seen this film. The first two times, rentals from the video store. So I kind of remembered it, kind of forgot it. Kind of low budget comedy film. 1985. It was a newer Roger Corman production company that put it out. I'm not familiar. Roger Corman did not direct it. I'm not familiar with the director or the writer of this movie, but it's about a college student who is killed in a car crash, and then he's like hangs around as a ghost, and he can transform himself from being a ghost and invisible to being seen by people and being human again, I guess, by doing this little thing like that over his head. But kind of a weird plot. So some of the actors in this movie, we'll start with Larry Linville, who plays kind of the crotchety older guy. Larry Linville, who played Sergeant Whatever on MASH. Whichever one of you actually watched MASH would be familiar with Larry Linville, who's in this. Some of the other actors include a guy named Nick Siegel. Nick Siegel, who is a kind of a perfect typecast, preppy guy who you think you'd see more in college films like this, but you don't. I recognized him from the 1986 horror film Chopping Mall. He's one of the main characters on that. This also has Liz Sheridan, who played Mrs. Seinfeld on the TV series Seinfeld. I did not catch her in this. I think maybe she's a teacher or something, but it was a small role. Also had a small, well, not a very small role, but not many scenes, was David Byrd, who played the boss, who was kind of like a godlike figure. David Byrd, I've seen him in a few films. The first one off the top of my head I can think of is Roller Coaster 1977. He's the pet store proprietor who sells Helen Hunt some gerbil food or something. You see him briefly in Roller Coaster. So you also have Marta Kober, who is Sandra from Friday the 13th Part 2, 1981. Remember her? She goes with Jeff and drives with Jeff into the city, and they make the phone call to Ted from the phone booth, and they're the ones that sneak off to Camp Crystal Lake and get caught by the police officer and get brought into the sheriff's office and get reprimanded by Mr. Holt. Remember that? No seconds tonight for Sandra and Jeff. Seconds on dessert. Marta Kober. She also showed up in a small role in Slumber Party Massacre 3, which I've never seen the sequels to. I've talked about Slumber Party Massacre 1982 at length on the last day of Horror Fest 2023, but I've never seen any of the sequels. I think it's because they're both kind of comedy type. But yeah, you get to see Marta Kober in this, who plays kind of a, I think she's supposed to be like 16 or maybe even 15 in this. You get to see her, and she's 22 in real life, and plays it convincing with the teenager character. But you get to see her in a two-piece in this, and you get to see her in a pink top with no bra. Just analyzing the film here, guys. Doesn't need to be alarmed. Marta Kober, good to see her in this. Finally, you have Tom Nolan as the main character, the guy who dies, the college student. Tom Nolan, he was a kid actor in some like 60s or 50s, I don't know, black and white show. I can't think of the name of it. I just saw it, but I've never heard of it. But Tom Nolan in this, I never realized this before, but he is best known, well, maybe probably best known as Dennis Taylor. I had no idea he was Dennis Taylor, the manager of All American Burger, from a film 3 years earlier. We all know what that film is. Did you threaten this customer or use profanity in any way? F Dennis Taylor. I'm not going to apologize to that wimp. So yeah, that's him. I never realized it. I think because when he played Dennis Taylor, he's wearing he's got a mustache. But that's incredible because that movie was 1982, and he looks like an older adult. Whereas in this film, 1985, he's 37 years old, folks, and he's playing a college student. And he looks, I guess he looks a little older than a college student, but he doesn't look that old in the film. He kind of pulls it off, which is pretty amazing. So Tom Nolan, yeah, in this. Dennis Taylor is in school. The lead actor, probably his only lead acting role, is in School Spirit, 1985. And this film is not that great. I guess they could have had more fun with it, but it kind of morphs into this this kind of like bad Porky's remake. I mean, not remake, but ripoff. A bad Porky's ripoff with the fraternity. It's just my least favorite stuff about those kind of films, those college films. Little fraternity scenes with the crappy band. And this film's got a band called the Gleaming Spires, which is like an 80s new wave band in the early 80s. American band, and I guess they're not that bad. The song they did wasn't too bad, but I just don't care for that kind of scenes and those kind of films. Could have done something else with the film, but it turns out he's not dead. Or maybe he was some kind of state of purgatory. Maybe it was all a dream, but he wakes up in the hospital. But School Spirit, 1985, last night's feature presentation. Not that great, but again, this is filler period for films. Filler period. So, all right, so that's that. Thanks, Jock, and see you guys tonight for trivia. Good luck to Jamie Dukes. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.